dreams, hopes, questions. We get it. You're wondering what path is right for you, where you'll fit in, find purpose, how to best prepare for your career. And right now, even if you may have more questions than answers, there's a place waiting for you. Here. A place of preparation, discovery, and purpose. Where life-changing experiences take you beyond the classroom, to internships, on mission trips, to our marine biology station, or to study abroad. Where opportunities for leading, learning, serving, and exploring have your name on them, and offer some of the best ingredients for a life well lived. Studying here will be rigorous. It will change you, challenge you, and give you the vital skills needed to succeed in life and excel in your career. And education here will also plug you into our impressive network of accomplished alumni who can connect you to opportunities worldwide. In the grand beauty of the Pacific Northwest, you'll find your footing and forge friendships on a campus where teachers and staff know your name and are here to help you succeed. This is a place where people will pray with you, dream with you, and see the possibilities in you, maybe even before you see them in yourself. A place where you can find a future God made for you. Maybe you know exactly what you want to study, and maybe you're just not sure yet. Either way, surrounding yourself with people striving for excellence, impact, and lives of faith could be the most important decision you make right now. So go ahead. Put yourself on the path of discovery here, where opportunities are everywhere and connections are made for life, and life eternal.
Hello and welcome. I hope you enjoyed watching one of my favorite videos about WallaWallaU University, which I believe does a great job of representing who we are as a campus. My name is Trevor Congleton, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Marketing and Enrollment Services. As you know, we are here today to talk about how families and students utilize financial aid in order to help pay for college. Today's presentation has been designed to help you understand the financial aid process and how financial aid can help you become a part of the WallaWallaU University family. One of the best parts of my job is watching our students become part of that family as they discover their career paths and develop their characters. While they are here, they are prepared not only for successful careers, but are also prepared for a life of learning, a life of service to others, and most importantly, a life of faith in God. We know that right now, one of the biggest questions you are facing is how to pay for college. And we want to help address all of your questions in this presentation because the WallaWallaU University experience is one of a kind, and we believe that is definitely worth the investment. Not only do our students receive a top-notch education, they spend their college years in an environment that is conducive to a Christian lifestyle and have many intentional opportunities to engage in service to others. We provide a supportive, faith-friendly environment for our students as they begin to stand on their own in their spiritual journey. One of the ways that we support our students spiritually, emotionally, and academically is by matching all of our incoming freshmen with mentors. These are Christian individuals who share WallaWallaU University's values and goals and who meet with them regularly to check in to see how things are going and to guide them through that first year away from home. So let's get to the topic at hand today, how to pay for college. To help guide us in this discussion, I've asked Carrie Butler, one of the financial aid counselors in our Student Financial Services office, and Mindy Coleman, our guest relations coordinator, to join us. At any time during this presentation, if you have a question, you can ask it by typing it in the chat box. We'll get to all of your questions at the end of this presentation, which should take us about roughly 30 minutes. If you'd like to download the slides that we'll be covering in this presentation, you can download them through the link in the panel on the right side of your screen. Carrie and Mindy, let me turn it over to you and let's get started.
Hi everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk with you about financial aid process. Okay, Carrie, let's get started at the very beginning. How much does it cost to attend WallaWallaU University?
The figures you see on the screen are this year's expenses for a full-time student. In addition to the tuition, room, and board, there are variable expenses for things like books and miscellaneous expenses. You may have seen news stories on some state universities increasing their tuition significantly. We expect next year's tuition increase to be around 2 to 3%. Surprisingly, when you factor in all expenses, including room and board, as well as the great scholarship program we have here at WallaWallaU University, it can actually cost less than other four-year colleges. We've also calculated that for most students, it's cheaper to go 4 years to WallaWallaU University than to start at a community college and transfer to WallaWallaU later.
There are several factors that play a role here. We have lower housing and cafeteria costs. We have a great scholarship program, which we will talk about in a few minutes. Washington State has a great need grant program for its residents, and Washington State has one of the highest minimum wage rates in the U.S., so our students are able to earn more money while they're here. We also have a great on-campus work program, and we've been proactive in encouraging off-campus employers to hire our students, so there are lots of opportunities for you to find work. The majority of our students have a job while they're in school, and most of those are on campus. This benefits students both financially and academically. We've studied the GPAs of our students who work on campus, off campus, and don't work at all. Those who work on campus had a slightly higher GPA than the rest. Because of Washington State's higher than average minimum wage laws, we estimate that students working 15 hours a week will earn about $3,000 more per school year than a student working the same number of hours in a state that only pays the federal minimum wage. When you come to visit our campus, you will have an opportunity to talk with potential employers and learn about student employment and what positions might be available to you. A lot of our new students find their job during Jumpstart or the first week of classes, so if you get to September and you don't have a job, don't panic. It's totally normal. WWU has a sick pay benefit that most schools do not offer. You will accrue 1.6 hours of sick time for every 40 hours you work. If you are sick, we know it's important for you not to go to work. When students weren't able to work because of COVID, they could use their accrued sick time to replace lost hours of work.
In addition to student employment, there is financial aid available to help students and parents pay for college. This can include grants, scholarships, and loans. Grants are usually awarded based on financial need and do not have to be repaid. Scholarships are usually awarded based on achievement or criteria other than need and also do not have to be repaid. Loans are low interest and are offered either through WallaWallaU University or the federal government. We also expect most of our students will work while they are in school and contribute $6,000 to $8,000 toward their college expenses from both their school year earnings and summer savings combined. Last year, we processed more than $44 million of financial aid, and that made our average award more than $26,000 per student. We awarded aid to 90% of our students.
Carrie, could you walk us through the steps to apply for aid?
The first step is to apply for an FSA ID from the federal government. Students, you're going to need one. Parents, if you've applied for one before, maybe for another child, you won't need a new one. But if you don't already have one, you'll need to apply for one as well. The easiest place to apply for the FSA ID is at studentaid.gov/FSA-ID. So to make sure I'm clear about this, the student will have their own FSA ID and a parent will have their own FSA ID. The student will use the same FSA ID each year and may also use it for signing certain federal documents. As I said, The parent will have one FSA ID. They will use the same ID each year and for all of their children. You should also file taxes for 2021 if you haven't already done that. This is because you can import your tax information directly into the FAFSA application, and this just makes the FAFSA more accurate and easier to complete. This can also save the family time if the federal government selects the FAFSA for verification. And each year the government selects about a third of the FAFSAs for verification and requires the schools to obtain additional information. If you use the IRS data retrieval tool and didn't change the numbers, they consider that information already verified. If you don't use the IRS retrieval option and are selected for verification, the only other option is to get a tax transcript from the IRS. We are no longer allowed to use photocopies of tax papers. Using the data retrieval option for the FAFSA can shorten the process from a few weeks to a few days. The second step is to complete the free application for federal student aid, which is known as the FAFSA. Every school in the United States uses the same application. Note the word free. If you're asked to pay, don't use the site. Make sure you're on the free website. When filling out the form, be sure to indicate WallaWallaU University's school code, which is 003799. The FAFSA form is a federal form that collects demographic and financial information about both the student and the family. The FAFSA asks a lot of questions, but don't be intimidated. If you take it question by question, it's not that complicated. However, the form is limited only to United States citizens or permanent residents of the United States. The FSA ID you signed up for in Step 1 is used to sign the FAFSA form. Now for Step 3. Some schools, and WallaWallaU University is one of those schools, also require their own institutional financial aid application to be submitted. Our institutional financial aid application is available on the WallaWallaU website. This form only takes about 5 minutes to complete. One thing to note about this process is that a student needs to apply for and be accepted as a WallaWallaU University student before the financial aid award will be calculated.
A lot of students have already applied for next school year. Our recruitment team has been visiting academies in the Northwest as well as academies across the United States and encouraging students to apply. However, if you or your student has not yet applied, they can do so at apply.wallawalla.edu, where they will create an application account and submit their application electronically to us. Once a student has applied, they will need to send us a copy of their academic transcript in order for us to make an admissions decision. Many colleges and universities have a deadline for applying for aid. At WallaWallaU University, students need to apply for financial aid by April 30 to qualify for maximum aid. Since it takes a few days for the federal government to process the FAFSA, I do not recommend waiting until April 25 to start the process in the hopes that it will be done by April 30. While April 30 is the priority deadline, you really should start the process now. The sooner you complete the aid paperwork, the more aid may be available to you.
If you feel that the FAFSA doesn't take into account your unique circumstances, it may be possible for the school to do a professional judgment to reduce your expected contribution. Some of the things a school can consider: does the family have tuition expenses for other children in the family who are in elementary or secondary school? Does their income vary widely from year to year? Maybe we need to look at averaging the family's income over 3 to 5 years. Does the family have unusual medical or dental expenses that were not covered by insurance? We may be able to take these into consideration in your financial aid application. Have some family circumstances changed since you filled out the FAFSA? Maybe a parent lost his or her job. Perhaps there was a divorce or remarriage in the family. If there is a divorce in the family, FAFSA instructions say that the parent who the student lived with the most during the last 12 months is the parent who should provide the information on the FAFSA. If the student did not live with either parent or lived with both parents equally, then it's the parent that provided the most financial support in the last 12 months. If both parents provided equal amounts, you keep going back 12 months until one parent provided more financial support than the other. Occasionally, we will have a situation where a family is maintaining two households. Mom and dad are happily married, but for some reason, usually for work, one parent has to live and maintain a household in another location. Perhaps a parent is also going to school and seeking a degree. This is more than just a parent taking an occasional class. They need to be accepted as a degree-seeking student. Sometimes we work with families who are taking care of the parents' parents, or maybe they have some unusual dependent care expenses. Perhaps you had a one-time capital gain on the sale of an asset. We might be able to exclude the income from that capital gain. Assets play a very small role in determining the parent's contribution. The government does not look at the value of a person's home, and the formula also takes into account the age of the older parent, knowing that an older parent needs to be saving for retirement. So if you disagree with the FAFSA results, give us a call and we can work through this with you. It may be possible to reduce your expected contribution. Mindy, you mentioned a little bit about our scholarship program earlier, but would you break down how that works?
Yes. We award merit scholarships to high school students who are coming in with a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher. The higher their GPA, the larger their scholarship. We do require our students to maintain a 3.0 GPA while they are at WallaWallaU University in order to keep their scholarships. This is not based on your final high school transcript. It is based on the most recent transcript at the time they are admitted. So it can be based on the student's 6th semester transcript if they apply for admissions at the end of their junior year in high school. They are locked in for that amount, and it will not drop below that award. However, if their high school GPA improves after that, we will be more than happy to increase their scholarship to the next level they're eligible for, as long as we have an updated transcript. It is definitely in the interest of the student and family to get accepted early and to get their scholarship locked in. We also look at the student's ACT and SAT test scores. Whichever gives them the highest scholarship, their GPA, their ACT test, or their SAT test, that's the scholarship they receive. If the student comes to us from outside of Oregon or Washington, we will also give them a $2,500 out-of-area grant. In addition, we like to reward students who have been in leadership positions their junior or senior year in high school. We can award up to $1,500 based on those leadership positions. When the student applies for admission to WallaWallaU University, they can tell us each leadership position they've held. If they take on additional leadership offices after they apply, they just need to update us, and we can increase the scholarship up to the maximum of $1,500. So we're talking about up to $70,000 over 4 years for a student receiving our top merit scholarship, the $2,500 out-of-area grant, and the maximum leadership award. This is equivalent to getting over 1.5 years of expenses covered for free. We also have scholarships for National Merit students. To qualify for the National Merit Scholarships, students take a test in October or early November of their junior year in high school. They get one chance to take the test. You can check with your high school or academy to see if your student took that test. A National Merit Commended student will be eligible for $1,000 each year in addition to our academic achievement scholarships. A semifinalist is eligible for an additional $1,500 each year. A finalist will get full tuition their first 2 years and half tuition their second 2 years with us. This would be in place of the Academic Achievement Scholarship. We expect great things from our National Merit students, so we ask them to maintain a 3.8 GPA to renew this scholarship each year. One thing to note about these scholarships for entering freshmen is that if you go to another school first and then decide to come to WallaWallaU University, even if you earned as little as 1 credit, other than during summer session, you are now considered a transfer student and you are no longer eligible. Each year we have several students transfer to WallaWallaU University after attending another university fall quarter. We love having the students join our WallaWallaU University family, but some of them lost more than $40,000 in scholarships because they were no longer considered first-time freshmen. We want students to start with us and stay with us, so we are very upfront about our scholarship program. Students who attend another college or university before or after starting school at WWU, other than summer session, will forfeit their WWU freshman scholarships.
Let's talk about need-based aid at WallaWallaU University. When you fill out the FAFSA, you will be applying for several programs of aid. Let's look first at the grants. The maximum federal Pell Grant program this year is over $6,000 per year. We do not know if this is changing for next year yet. The NPUC grant, which is funded by the annual offering for WallaWallaU University, can give a student up to $900. However, the student must apply by April 30th to be eligible for this grant. Depending on the student's financial need and other resources, the WallaWallaU University grant can be several $1,000s. This year, the largest grant was over $15,000. The most needy Pell-eligible students can get up to $1,800 on a federal supplemental educational opportunity grant. We run out of these funds, so it's important to apply early. Eligible students who are residents of Washington State can get almost $10,000 in a Washington College grant. Washington State has been increasing the number of students eligible for this grant. DACA students are eligible for this grant. The college-bound scholarship is for Washington State residents who signed a pledge in the 7th or 8th grade to graduate from high school or homeschool program with at least a 2.0 GPA, not to be convicted of a felony, and to go to college in Washington State. It does have a financial need component, but this can be over $6,000 per year. No student is eligible for all of these programs, but I want students and parents to realize that there is a lot of financial aid available to students. There are also loan programs available. The university loan can be up to $3,600 their freshman year. Freshmen can borrow up to $5,500 on the federal direct loan program. It's called direct because you're borrowing directly from the federal government. The government may pay some of the interest on the loan while the student is in school, depending on the FAFSA information. Just about everyone who is eligible to fill out the FAFSA is eligible for the direct loan. When Bill Gates' kids started college, they were eligible to take out the direct loan, although they're probably not eligible for the interest subsidy. For additional financial aid, there is a Parent Plus loan that parents can take out. They can borrow the difference between the cost of attendance and the financial aid the student receives. There's no limit to how much a parent can borrow over their lifetime, and the loan is set up on a 10-year repayment plan. Interest and loan fees apply. For the direct and plus loans, the government does deduct loan processing fees before they send the money to WallaWallaU University. While we encourage students to avoid loans if they can, don't let the news stories about student loans scare you. Most of those stories you hear are extreme cases rather than a typical student loan. In June, about a third of our graduating seniors had no student loan debt. Of the students who took out loans, the average senior left with about $34,000 in loans, which is actually less than it was a few years ago when more students were borrowing and our average loan was over $37,000. And our students are borrowing less than the national average. Student loans are really an investment in yourself. Having the college degree gives you the higher earning potential. As we saw in the last two recessions, people with college degrees have a much lower unemployment rate. You can tell that WallaWallaU students are able to manage their student loans by looking at our default rates. When you compare our students' default rates with the national average, you will see our graduates are able to pay back their loans. This shows that most of our students are taking out a manageable student loan debt load. For our direct and Perkins loans, our default rates are about 1/5 of the national average, and we are proud of the fact that our students take responsibility for repaying their loans. As I already mentioned, a low default rate is an indicator that our students are borrowing a reasonable and affordable amount when compared to their future earnings.
When you compare the cost of different schools, you want to be sure you're comparing apples to apples. Make sure you look at total cost and not just tuition. Add in key items like the school's required fees. Room and cafeteria costs vary widely, and so do other fees. Our room and cafeteria costs have consistently been lower than most private schools and considerably lower than state schools. Also, Don't forget to calculate the cost of travel for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and spring breaks. As we said before, it's our financial aid program that can make the difference in the affordability of a Christian education. So when you're looking at the total cost of each school, subtract the amount of aid you receive at each institution to see the out-of-pocket expenses for your family. Carrie, do you have any other resources you can recommend as students and their parents start looking at how to pay for college?
Yes, now is the best time to be applying for scholarships for next year. When searching for outside scholarships, the first thing I recommend you do is make a list of the scholarships you find. Record when the application is usually available and what is the deadline. How much is the scholarship? Are there any requirements, such as an essay? Where did you find the information, such as a website address? And then keep checking that list to make sure you meet those deadlines. I encourage people to talk to your local high school guidance counselor. When people create scholarships, they usually notify the public schools, but they forget to notify private schools. So your academy may not know about some scholarships through no fault of their own. Ask other places that might know about scholarships. Check with your local Chamber of Commerce to see if there are any local scholarships. If a local bank has a trust department, ask there. Check with your community foundations. The best scholarships to apply for are the ones that have a limited pool of applicants. For example, a local electric cooperative in the WallaWallaU Valley gives 3 scholarships each year for $1,000 to $1,500, but you have to be a customer to be eligible to apply. So a small pool of applicants makes it more likely for the applicants to get this scholarship. Some credit unions give scholarships just to members and children of members. And again, a small pool of applicants increases your chances of winning. And don't just go after the big dollar amounts. A lot of people don't apply for the smaller scholarships, so that increases the odds of you winning. We had a student who ended up working in our office who came her freshman year with 7 outside scholarships that totaled $3,700. The largest was for $1,000 and most were around $500, but $3,700 is a nice bonus. Another one of our student workers mentioned that his friends laughed at him for applying for a $500 scholarship. He said he spent 2 hours on the application and won the scholarship, and that $250 an hour wasn't bad wages at all. The best free website we have found for scholarship searches is fastweb.com. Definitely don't pay for a scholarship search. Almost all paid scholarship searches are fraud, or they give you the same information you would receive from a free scholarship search. Google is a good source to find discipline-specific scholarships. If you have a unique skill or interest, there may be a special scholarship just for you. Also, Google things like your city and state with the word scholarships, or your county and state and the word scholarships. On the scholarship page of our website, you'll see a section dedicated to outside scholarships. We also have a list just for Washington State residents and links to other scholarship searches. For example, there's a scholarship for our Washington State residents who are pursuing a degree in science, technology, engineering, math, or healthcare, including nursing. Over 4 years, this could be worth $17,500. There's also a great scholarship database for the state of Oregon. And don't forget to consider other sources that may be able to contribute. Can your home church help? WallaWallaU University tries to match up to $2,000 of a home church's donation if the student shows financial need according to the federal formula. It needs to be money coming from the church congregation and not the parent or grandparents donating the money hoping to get a match. Summer work or savings. Some students save $4,000 or $5,000 from their summer work. How about other relatives? Maybe your grandparents can help.
We believe that Christian education is one of the most valuable investments you can make. It challenges students academically, connects them socially, prepares them for a successful career, and strengthens them spiritually, all within a supportive community of faith. We work hard to make Christian education accessible and affordable, and God comes through time and time again to help us make that possible. At the bottom of the slide is a link to a web page that brings together useful information on paying for college. There are some calculators there, as well as lots of helpful resources. We encourage students to visit WallaWallaU University, and you can bring your parents with you. We will provide a campus tour that's fun and informative, led by one of our students or a staff member. You'll have a chance to meet with professors in your chosen department, see people in admissions and student financial services, and to talk with someone about student employment. We provide free transportation from the Walla Walla or Pasco airports, and we'll also give you up to 3 nights of lodging and meals while you're here. We'll reimburse half of your travel expenses up to $350, and if you enroll as a student at WallaWallaU University, you can have the other half, up to $350, applied to your school bill. If an in-person visit won't work for you, please consider joining us for a virtual visit. Your virtual visit is tailored to you and your needs and can include most of what we do in person, just from the comfort of your own home. All we ask is that you give us at least 2 weeks' notice to get everything set up for you in advance. You can schedule either an in-person or online visit at wallawalla.edu/visit or by giving our office a call. We want to make sure we have the most current information for you so that we can stay in touch with you and answer your questions. Once students are accepted to WallaWallaU University, the student will be able to log in to MyWWU, which is our student information system. Make sure they check the to-do list. On that list, students will see 2 or 3 items waiting. Click on each one and it will give you instructions on how to complete the task. If you have questions on how to log in or how to complete a task, contact computer support at 509-527-2317. Students, first, you'll want to make sure you and your parents' contact information is correct, especially the student's cell phone number and student and parent email addresses. We promise not to spam you with emails or texts. We just want to keep you in the loop with important reminders and deadlines. Second, you'll want to give us permission to send automated text messages to your cell phone. We won't text frequently. We just want to make sure you don't miss critical deadlines. You may have already done this on your application, so we won't ask you again. Third, you'll want to set your parent permissions so we know who we should and who we should not talk to. Students, when you get to college, you are in control of your information. We won't share your grades with your parents unless you provide permission. Parents, we want your email on file so that you can receive our parent newsletter. It contains information to help you know what your student should be doing at each stage of the enrollment process and other helpful information like tips from other parents who have gone through this process. We also like to email parents about tasks that need to be taken care of if the student didn't take care of them already. Trevor, before you open this up to questions, will you go over the list of dates that students and parents should keep in mind as they approach the first day of college?
I'd be happy to. As Carrie mentioned earlier, an important reminder before I talk about the dates is that if you haven't already done your taxes for 2021, you'll want to file those now. Once those are processed, you can retrieve the IRS information into your FAFSA. Okay, on to the list of important dates. The first of which is our 2 university days planned for in the spring, one in March and one in April. These are designed for you to come and check out our campus. During our U-Days events, you'll be able to talk to teachers, meet other students, and see what life would be like as a student at WWU. You'll be able to tour campus, attend classes, participate in some events that we have planned just for you, win prizes, and more. We have a great time with them. It's a great time for students to learn about our individualized and comprehensive financial aid program as well. If you're outside of the North Pacific Union Conference Academy system, you can sign up for our March University Days event. And if you register for that event by December 15th, we'll be giving you an early $50 cash incentive during your visit as a part of your travel reimbursement. So if you think you'd like to come for March U-Days, I'd say register for it here right away. You just go ahead to wallawalla.edu/U-Days and leave us your contact information. Okay, other important dates to keep in mind as you plan for next year. April 30th is our priority deadline for financial aid. That's also the deadline for our early bird payment of a student's enrollment fee. This enrollment fee is a $200 fee and it is non-refundable. It basically tells us that you plan to be here in the fall. If you pay this by April 30 and enroll for the following fall quarter, you'll get $100 credited back to your account. Once you've paid the enrollment fee, you'll be placed in classes and reserve your room in the residence hall once they've opened for next year's freshman students, which happens in about end of March, beginning of April. We encourage you to pay it as soon as you're accepted and feel comfortable with your financial aid package and know for sure that you want to be at WWU in the fall. Also, be sure to apply for financial aid early enough so that you'll have received your financial aid award letter and can make an informed decision quite a bit before that April 30th deadline. Next on the calendar is Jumpstart, which begins on September 17th. This is an important week of orientation to help you get acquainted with campus and is required for all new students. By Wednesday, September 20, you should have paid your down payment, completed any necessary paperwork for student loans, and have signed your financial clearance online. As we get close to that date, you'll be hearing from Student Financial Services on exactly what you need to do. And then on Monday, September 25th, 2023, you'll begin your college education at WallaWallaU University. On the screen now are some important phone numbers for how to reach us. Jot these down or download the PDF of this presentation and give us a call. We're here to help you make a WallaWallaU University education a reality for you. Okay, let's start answering the questions that have been submitted throughout the presentation. You can continue to ask your questions using the chat box, and we'll answer them in the order that we receive them. All right, let's get to the first question. This is going to be you, Carrie, so I'm going to invite you back up here. The first question is, can a student apply for financial aid before they have been accepted? Good question.
Yes and no. Students can apply for financial aid, will receive their information, but until the student's been accepted for admission to WallaWallaU University, we don't process the application. So basically, it sits in a file waiting for your acceptance. However, as soon as we receive word that you've been accepted, then we can begin processing the application. So it doesn't hurt to get it in early. And even if you're not sure about your financial situation, be sure to send your FAFSA results to WallaWallaU and let us put together a financial plan that's personalized for your situation.
Great. Next question for you, Carrie, is how likely am I to receive financial aid? Is it worth going through the application process, filling out the FAFSA, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. 90% of WallaWallaU University students qualify for financial aid. And as I mentioned earlier, last year, we awarded over $44 million in student aid, and that comes to an average of $26,000 per student.
That sounds like that's well worth your time to fill out the paperwork, it sounds like, for sure. The next question is, how soon can a student apply for admission? Do they need to wait until the middle of their senior year of high school? I'll go ahead and take this one since I work in admissions and recruitment. The answer to that is we actually will accept a student based on their 6th semester transcript from high school. So if you've completed your junior year, you're eligible to apply for admission. Doing this definitely has an advantage. If you have a great GPA on that 6th semester transcript, we'll lock your scholarship at that level. And then let's say you take some hard classes your senior year and your GPA slides a little bit, and maybe we'll put you in a lower category, your scholarship is still locked in at that higher GPA level. And once it's locked in, it can only go up. So if your GPA climbs your senior year and gets you to another category, we'll award you that one. But once we've locked it in, you can't get less than that. So it is definitely your advantage to apply for admission as soon as you're eligible. Carrie, this next question is going to be for you. Once a student's financial aid package has been awarded, how do you notify the student? I think I lost Carrie. Your camera isn't on and your mic isn't on, so I'm not sure if you'll be back. Oh, wait, I can hear you and I can see you.
Trevor, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're getting feedback.
I can see it now.
Okay, great. So you had asked once the financial package is ready,
Yep.
And it's been awarded about notification. So
Yep.
what we'll do is send out a letter, and with that award letter, we'll include a personalized financial plan. This will include our best estimate on your expenses on campus, and your estimated payments will show on the financial plan. The payment plans are pretty simple. We take your costs, subtract the amount of financial aid, and then we divide that into 3 equal payments. And the first payment is due the Wednesday before the start of classes. The next 2 payments follow about a month apart. And when you begin the next quarter, you'll pay anything that's remaining from the previous quarter, plus the down payment for the new quarter. And again, it is due the Wednesday before the start of classes.
Great. Thanks, Carrie. It's good to have you back. I'm glad that we were able to figure out what went on. Okay, here's another question. If a student starts at WWU, then goes to another school, do they still get their scholarship when they return?
If they go someplace in the summer, that's okay. But if they go to another school for even one credit other than during summer, then they lose their scholarship, because we want them to come here as freshmen and then stay their entire 4 years with us.
Great, thank you. And a follow-up to that question, so if they start at WallaWallaU University, then go to another college for several terms, and then transfer back to WallaWallaU University, are they now eligible for a transfer scholarship since they lost their freshman scholarship?
No, they'd be considered a returning student and not a transfer student, so they've lost their eligibility for scholarships. They can still apply for need-based aid, but they wouldn't get their scholarships back. And as I said earlier, we want students to start with us and to stay with us.
Great. Let's see. This next question looks like it's from a parent. They said, a friend of mine is a student at WallaWallaU University, but they said they can't see their grades even though they pay the bill. Is that right?
That is right, and that's federal law. As soon as a student starts college, the student has total control over who gets their statement, who knows their grade. And of course, like I said earlier, parents, you can tell the students you won't pay the down payment for the next quarter until they show you their grades. So you do have some negotiating power.
Nice. Okay, we're starting to wind down with the amount of questions. So if you have a question that hasn't been answered yet, make sure you put it in the chat box. I've got 3 that are still waiting there, but we'll continue answering questions and if you guys keep asking them. So next question is going to be, is it possible to work while studying without affecting your grades? You want to start with that one and then I can add to it maybe?
Absolutely. Of course, you are here for academic reasons, but actually studies show that students who work while they're in school actually have better grades. Yes, it would be quite common for students to actually perform better academically because they're working.
And typically students take about 16 credits a quarter is what the typical load is for most of our students. And if you're taking that amount of credits, usually the recommendation is anywhere from like 10 to 12 hours of work a week is considered an appropriate amount, where it shouldn't affect your grades with working that amount of time. There's a caveat with that though. There are some majors that usually they hit a little harder in terms of homework and things like that. For instance, like engineering, where we usually recommend maybe your first quarter, wait and see how it goes. If you don't have any problem keeping up with the workload, that kind of stuff, then getting a job the next quarter is always an option too. So it kind of just depends. Biggest thing is you want to keep those grades nice and high so you can keep your scholarships that you get. So keep above that 3.0. Okay, another question is, I think that this one is related to visiting campus with family. So the question was, can I go to the university with my family? So you're more than welcome to bring your family on a campus visit. We'll host them. It's going to be for your immediate family, but your parents, if you have any siblings, we'll actually cover all of their food and lodging while they're here. We'll only help pay for, like, if you get an airplane ticket to come out, we'll only pay for the ticket for the student that is interested in coming. But we'll cover food and lodging, like I said, for up to 3 nights of the family. So we encourage you to bring your family, want them to see. And the same goes for university days. We'll help cover that expenses when you guys are here. Let's see. Another question is, Carrie, I'm going to give this one to you. If you take a college course at your high school, does that count against the scholarship amount? Such as if you take College Writing 121 that was offered by a local state university, but taken during high school.
Anything you've taken prior to graduation is fair game, so that's okay. You're ahead of the game, actually. We've had students actually transfer in with junior status. Mainly what they're looking at is the fall after you graduate from high school. And again, summer you can attend, but what the school's looking at is starting in the fall and during the regular school year.
Great. Yep. And Carrie had mentioned a little bit earlier, I believe, about if you take summer classes, that's totally fine too. Just as long as you're not taking college courses after the summer of high school graduation, outside of summer quarters, you need to make sure that you're here taking classes. Otherwise, that will interrupt your scholarships. Okay. Another question is, if I'm unable to download the handout right now, where can I find it later? So I'm assuming you're talking about the slideshow. We should have that available. Jennifer, is that one posted? So Jennifer is the one that's helping us behind the scenes with running the software.
We don't post the handout, but we post the recording at wallawalla.edu/webinars.
Perfect. Okay. So you can get that at wallawalla.edu/webinars. Thanks, Jennifer. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like that brings us to the end of the presentation. I just want to say thank you to all of you that stuck with us and watched the presentation and asked questions. I'd also like to thank both Mindy Coleman and Carrie Butler for being with us this evening. And I'd also like to thank Jennifer Boyko, who's been running the presentation in the background that you just heard her voice. I hope that you found this presentation helpful and that you feel more prepared to take the next steps towards your college adventure. We'd love to have you at WallaWalla University, and if a WallaWalla University education is in God's plan for your life, we'll do everything we can to make it work for you. You have our promise and our prayers. We'd also love to have your feedback about today's presentation. When we sign off, please take a moment to take a brief survey at wallawalla.edu/comment. Again, that's wallawalla.edu/comment, where you'd like to know what you thought and how we can make this presentation better for those that watch it next. Also, if you think of something you forgot to ask, you can always give us a call at 800-541-8900 or email us at info@wallawalla.edu. We look forward to you being a part of our family for the next fall quarter, and we hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care.